Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse McFarlane Collector Edition Hawkman. Hawkman's one of those characters where I never actually cared about him too much, but I also really liked him. I don't know why. I guess it's just because he's kind of a badass, and for being a guy with a strap-on set of wings and a weird hat and whatever, he's kind of cool looking. Like, just generally badass in a feathery sort of way. I don't know what it is. I've just always kind of liked him for not caring at all about him. It's weird. Let me know what you guys think about Hawkman as a character. But this is, I believe, the first Hawkman from McFarlane Toys. And it does come with McFarlane's name on the package for no apparent reason. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But this is the 0-hour version. Does it say it on here? It does. The 0-hour version of Hawkman, not classic, because if they did that first, you'd have no reason to buy this one whenever they release this. So, it's got some good stuff going on though, and it's definitely got some weird stuff too. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we get into the figure, let's take a look at my package. We do have the collector edition version of the packaging, so it's not just the black, white, and blue. No, that wouldn't be collector-y enough. We have the chrome trim right here, and we also have the word McFarlane Collector Edition. Does anybody care? Frankly speaking, generally speaking, in any way speaking, do you guys care about these collector editions that have slightly different packaging but nothing better about the figure? Like, I don't get it. It's the weirdest thing to me. I mean, I know Todd's always done like signature series where he signs something a million times and stuff like that, and that's fine. Like, it's his company, he can do whatever he wants, but to me it's weird that these are called collector edition and they don't change anything about the product. It's just very strange. Full artwork on the back, that's cool. It looks way better than the figure by a lot. And then otherwise, it's just the same thing as always, but with the chrome, which is cool, but I don't care. It's not truly a collector's edition until we get to the one accessory. We'll get there. Okay, so this guy stands about 19 centimeters, not counting the wings on his helmet, and that's going to be about 7 3/8 inches. He's got some size to him. They are 7-inch scale figures, and that seems to be about right. Okay, question of the day. Did you want 0-hour Hawkman, or would you like a classic version? For me, classic version, please. But this one's not bad as far as 0-hour goes. As far as this figure goes, there's something that's concerning to me. I don't remember his head looking like that. Is there a time when his head has the feathers all over the head like that? Because I remember him always looking like this. Smooth head. Which just looks so much better. And then not separating the eyebrows from the like cheekbones and the nose makes him look so much meaner and angrier. This makes him look like a furry. Well, a feathery. Is that what they're called? I don't know. So that's a little bit strange to me. You guys can let me know if you are like way more knowledgeable about Hawkman than me, which is likely. You can let me know if this is an accurate thing or if McFarlane just did his thing. I mean, it's not him, but it's kind of him and it's his company. So let me know. Okay, so as far as aesthetics go, I do believe this is supposed to be a different finish from this. It's supposed to be a whole different color, I thought. Like gray? I thought it was supposed to be gray here for his diaper, but this time it's a weird padded blue to go with the blue pants. Pretty plasticky, but not terrible. I do think the body shape is much better. In fact, if you just look at the top half of the body, proportioning is pretty good. But if you add the bottom, his arms are a little stumpy. Let me zoom back a little bit, pan back. His arms are definitely a little short. He would have a hard time scratching himself if he had an itch in the groinal region. His arms are stumpy. And his legs aren't really that long. I just think that, I mean, they may be slightly long, but if his arms were just slightly bigger, this would have really good proportioning. And I think it's good enough. If you put it on a shelf and pose him just a little bit, it's probably going to be okay. But his hands are small and his arms are a little bit short. Alright, so there's that. We have the hair on him, which I think is one of the better iterations of chest hair we've seen and arm hair that we've seen on a figure. Placement's a little iffy, and the fact that there's no shading or anything anywhere else, so it looks like plastic plus hair, it's a little bit weird, but it's not bad. And I do think the sculpt on the body is much better compared to most McFarlane figures. Oddly enough, they put nipples on him. I thought they didn't do that. Is this not hitting retail? Is this online only? I thought you couldn't have nipples at retail. Like brick and mortar, I'm not sure, but it looks not bad. The whole thing, not the nipples. Don't care about the nipples, personally. The chest logo, pretty clean, not bad. The face is clean. Whether or not you like that look for his helmet, that's up to you, but it is pretty well done, so that's all right. Sculpt on the pants not bad. Nice wrinkles. Boots look decent. Boots have the same finish as the diaper. So it's not too bad looking. I will say they did or two things that are pretty weird. We'll get to that in the articulation though. The last thing as far as aesthetics would be the wings. I hate the way they did this. One, they're kind of like a periwinkle color, so that's a little bit weird. I believe they should still be gray. And then the shading on them is like an indigo. And it's a really, really sloppy dry brush that looks terrible. It looks like one of the worst customs you've ever seen. Like one of those $30 ones on eBay that definitely cost more to make than they're selling it for. That kind of thing. It looks bad, if you ask me. I hate them. And I don't like the shape of the wings either because they're not even shaped properly like hawk wings. There's a little bit too much curve up here, I think. I'm not a bird expert, but they do seem way too curvy up here, and like there's not enough feather down here. If he extended his wings, he'd have no featheriness in this whole region. So it's just a kind of a weak sculpt. Also, the last also about the wings is they're quite small compared to Hawkman in the comics. His wings are usually quite substantial, and his wings here are pretty weak and wimpy. So it's kind of a hit or miss sort of thing on this guy. Half of him is pretty darn good, and the other half of him looks pretty wimpy and not good. So I'm going to average it down. It's not really an average, I guess. I'm just going to say it's a 6 out of 10 for the aesthetic. There's some really weird stuff going on here that kind of pulls away from the stuff that looks pretty good. Okay, as for accessories, get ready. Collector's edition, remember guys, it's a special collector edition. You do get his mace, which is made out of PVC, which is fine if you use a harder PVC. This one is very soft. Not the right durometer. Nice and shiny, that looks nice, but there's no wash on it and it's very soft. Lots of sculpt work going on, but definitely needs a wash. So you do get that. You get your usual DC display stand, but this time, collector edition, you get smeared silver paint on there rather than the usual black paint. And it's not placed properly. Normally the DC logo is over here somewhere, and that would be like on the side, and that would be down, but this one, those aren't my fingerprints, by the way, it came this way. I can make ones, but those aren't mine. I haven't touched this other than to pull out of the package. Anyway, the silver paint is scuffed. So yeah, scuffed silver paint on that. Not great. Okay, and then the last thing that really makes this a collector edition, you get this plinth. This hollow plastic piece of garbage, like inside a cereal box type of thing. Plinth with an okay painted DC logo, and then your collector card, which shows the back of the box. Doesn't match the figure at all, but in chrome lettering, you do get McFarlane Collector Edition right on there. Yeah, and then you get the card on the back, which you can't read unless you take it out. So, what is a collector edition? I don't know. Accessory-wise, 1 out of 10 for the mace. Okay, as far as articulation goes, the wings are on ball hinges, but the way they're so close together, you can't really move them too much. That's about it. You can move them just a little bit as far as going back. And then rotating them up, you can do that, but why would you? That doesn't make sense. I mean, anatomically speaking, there's no reason to rotate them up. So, the wings are basically worthless. The head, double ball peg. He can look up pretty well. It's not great, but it's okay. He can look down okay. Side to side, leaning is good. Rotation is fine. It's okay. No real problems there. The shoulders, one of the best versions of this shoulder / cap that they've done. The ball peg goes all the way in there, and you get lots of range out of this. So it can look goofy, but you can bring his shoulders down if you want to extend his arms, which you really shouldn't do. You should leave those shoulders up, and they should have the arms longer. But you do get some nuanced posing options because of that, so that's good. The hinge, on the other hand, doesn't get him up better than horizontal, but you can use that ball peg to get a little bit higher, so that's okay. Not the best looking thing when you do that. Full rotation, no problem there. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow, oof, that's the first joint. One joint gets you all the way up there. Wow, that's a first. And then the second joint, if you can make it work. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to mention. They put the elbow joint so high up in the bicep that they really had to include the sculpt on the joint, and they did kind of, but also kind of not. It looks kind of like a tumor, and also it just doesn't want to go anywhere unless you really force it. And then you can get it like pretty high up there, and then this one goes the rest of the way. But look at that elbow joint. It is rough. really, really rough. So that's unfortunate that even the most basic of joints, which is just a standard pinned elbow joint, they've had trouble with. Significant trouble. Looks like a chicken wing. Or a hawk wing. Okay, I regret that joke. 0%. As for the wrists, we get the sculpted ball hinges, which is generally a good thing, but not really, because you get the sculpted wrist that shows like the musculature, sort of, but then when you bend it, it looks like he's got a broken arm. Focus here. It's just not really the way you want to do that. You're better off, if you ask me, going with the ball hinge. That way it doesn't look like part of the sculpt is broken. It just looks like action figure articulation, which this does anyway. So that's a bit of a problem. And on this side, it's the same kind of thing, even worse. I didn't do that on purpose. His arm just fell off on its own. Wow, okay, we'll get to that part. So if you look at the way it's done, this flat part, this faceted part, it's kind of always showing. I don't know what they did exactly on the wrist, but that's not how you do articulation. It's just not. All right, and now we do have the issue of his arm fell off. Or I guess I should say his body fell off, since I was holding the arm. So that's a really poorly done peg. I don't know if that's just a QC issue or if it's a design issue, but... Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that in without some heat. How did it pop off? I mean, it looked like it was a loose joint, but... I don't know. It's on there now. But let's just say I'm not real confident in that. It doesn't feel like it's going to pop right back off, so... Well, whatever. Another arm falling off on a McFarlane figure doesn't really surprise me at this point. Torso articulation is a nice diaphragm. It goes better to the back and to the sides than to the front. The top joint doesn't lean very far forward, but with the bottom one, you get a little bit, not too much, but he does lean back very nicely, which is probably all right for Hawkman. But it would be nice if he could lean back and forward. Leaning side to side does work pretty well, top and bottom, and then of course you get your rotation, no problem there. Little loop for the mace if you want to do that, but that would be kind of weird to have your mace. Like, I don't think you would carry it like that, right? You'd be stabbing yourself in the arms a whole bunch. Not the best thing, I don't know. Alright, not great. Alright, for the hips, I'm guessing this diaper is going to get in the way, but let's see. This review ended up being long. That's what she said? Alright, so the legs go all the way out to the side, no problem. No looseness either, that's good. Going forward, immediately, almost immediately, we start to split the crotch piece. You can see stress marks showing up right away. That's not good. Going back, very limited range. Not great. Thigh swivel, basically non-existent. Double jointed knee. Not bad, good range, pretty close to proportionate, so that's good. Lower legs are still too long. No boot swivel. Ankles are on big sculpted hinges that are too loose and very ratcheted, so it's going to be annoying, but you do get good range. Ankle rocker is fine, and then the toe hinge is well placed, and it's not too loose, but it's kind of ugly. So there's that. All right, articulation on this guy is a little bit better than usual for McFarlane, but not great. I'll give him a 7. Some things are much better, but overall he's still only going to get a 7 for articulation. All right, and now it's time for the cake rating. Not great. I think whoever was doing the cakes, they fired him. The sculpts have been better overall, but the cakes have been significantly lacking. This guy's only going to get a 3 out of 10. There's a lot of padding in this outfit, and there's not much there if you take away that padding, so that's unfortunate for him. But okay, now it's time for the final verdict. This Hawkman figure, is it good enough for a Hawkman fan to be satisfied? Probably. It's okay. This mace is so flaccid. There we go. It's okay. It's probably going to be good enough for a lot of people, but it could be a lot better. And I think when they inevitably make another one, they could do a lot better. The tiny hands, short arms, questionable head, and then crazy weird wings. Not really my cup of tea. You guys can let me know how you feel about it. But objectively, I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 7. It'll do. It's okay. Is it collector edition worthy? Certainly not. There's nothing special about the figure. Does it have technically more paint on it? Maybe, but not really, because it's almost paintless other than the wings. A little bit of chest hair and some details here and there is not like a lot of paint. So yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I was hoping it was going to be a lot better, but it's just okay. That's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.